That was London's Mayor Sadiq Khan there. You're watching BBC News. More coming up. In fact, Focus on Africa will be with you now.
Now on BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories. Focus on Africa.
Hello, I'm Sophie Ikenye. Welcome to Focus on Africa. Our top stories. The body of the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who died in South Africa last Sunday, is lying in state for a second day ahead of his funeral on New Year's Day. Kenya's education minister says gay and lesbian students should be banned from boarding schools. Also in the program, Drone Solutions, we meet a young inventor who's using drones to deliver medical supplies to remote areas in Cape Verde. And in sport, Emmanuel Dennis and Victor Osimhen are out of the Nigeria squad for the Africa Cup of Nations. Thanks for joining us on Focus on Africa from BBC World News. The body of the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who died in South Africa last Sunday, is lying in state in his former Cape Town parish for a second day. That's ahead of his funeral on New Year's Day. In accordance with his wishes, the former anti-apartheid leader has been given the cheapest coffin available, and he will be cremated without fanfare after the service. Nomsa Masego has more. Now, Kenya's Education Minister George Magoha says all gay and lesbian students should be barred from attending boarding schools. The often outspoken politician says they should be transferred to day schools to prevent them from influencing other boarders. Rights groups have said they'll challenge any attempt to enforce the prohibition. Let's now speak to our reporter, Emmanuel Igunza in Nairobi. Emmanuel, what led to these comments from the minister? All right, Emmanuel Igunza for us there in Nairobi. Thank you. Let's now take a quick look at other stories making headlines across Africa and the rest of the world. The Ennahda opposition party in Tunisia says one of its leading officials has been detained by security forces. Ennahda said Noureddin Biri was arrested outside his house and taken to an unknown location. Mr. Biri is the first senior official in the moderate Islamist Ennahda party to be detained since President Kais Saied dismissed parliament and took over the powers of government in July. Somali Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Roble has announced that he will appoint a special committee to investigate what he called a failed coup at his office. Now, this follows the escalation of the feud between the Prime Minister and the President. Meanwhile, a coalition of presidential candidates, including the former President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, have called for President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo to step down. Israel has started to administer the fourth COVID vaccine shots to people with weakened immune system. It's one of the first countries in the world to do so. Heart transplant patients at hospital near Tel Aviv were among the first to get the jab. The Israeli Health Ministry has also approved the fourth shot for residents in retirement homes and the elderly in special care. Still to come, Mimi will be here with the sport as Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta confirms Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was given permission to link up early with the Gabon squad ahead of AFCON. Welcome back. You're watching Focus on Africa from BBC World News. Now, South Africa has lifted overnight curfew rules, with officials saying the country may have passed the peak of its fourth wave of COVID-19 infections. A government statement said the Omicron variant, while highly transmissible, had seen lower hospitalization rates than previous waves, with a marginal increase in the number of deaths. Now, access to emergency medical care or medication is a huge concern in Cape Verde. The archipelago has only 6 major hospitals in 3 of the 9 inhabited islands. It means emergency cases in most of the smaller islands must be evacuated to bigger islands with better medical facilities. But this takes time and puts Cape Verdeans at risk. Well, the BBC's Charles Mbulu traveled to one of the islands to meet a young inventor offering a smart drone solution to this problem. You're watching BBC Focus on Africa. Time now for some sports. And Mimi, some Super Eagles players are supposed to miss the AFCON.
Sadly, yes, that's very true. Nigeria have been forced to make 4 late changes to their final Africa Cup of Nations squad, with Napoli's Victor Osimhen and Watford's Emmanuel Dennis both out of the tournament. That was Marie-Jose Missia ending that report and the sport for me this year. Sophie.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you. Now, you can get in touch with me and some of the team on social media. I'm at Ikenye. Well, it's been what can only be described as an intense year for many of us around the world. Here's hoping the new year is much better. So, Happy New Year. We leave you with pictures from New Zealand, Australia, North Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, ushering in the new year. Thanks for your company.
And a reminder this hour of our breaking news. A legal document which Prince Andrew's lawyer believes could stop a civil case against him in the United States has been made public in the last hour or so. The Duke of York's consistently denied sexually assaulting Virginia Giuffre when she was 17. The document's been unsealed by a court in New York. It's a settlement agreement between Jeffrey Epstein and Virginia Giuffre, also known as Virginia Roberts. It dismisses the case for damages brought by Ms. Giuffre in return for the sum of $500,000. There'll be much more on that throughout the day here on BBC News.
Now on BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories. Focus on Africa.
This is Focus on Africa. I'm Lukwesa, Burak. Our top stories today. Sudan faces a deepening political crisis after the resignation of its civilian Prime Minister, Abdullah Hamdok.
Hamdok is a man that the whole country agreed on. After his resignation, we feel that Sudan lost an important personality that was approved by the international community and the Sudanese people.
Trading trillions or company closures. Just how healthy is Africa's free trade agreement balance sheet looking? Also in the programme, String and the Kora. We meet a Kora player who's brought the sacred instrument of the storytellers to London. And in the sports news, the countdown begins with just 6 days to go before the Africa Cup of Nations kicks off in Cameroon. Hello and welcome to Focus on Africa on BBC World News. First, Sudan's political future is in turmoil after Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok announced his resignation just 6 weeks after being reinstated as part of a political agreement with the military. Now, the country has been rocked by months of protests since the military coup in October. Okay, let's get more on this. Joining me live now is William Gumede, who is the Executive Chairperson of the Democracy Works Foundation. Hello, William. Just how much of a shock has this resignation come? Okay, William Gumede, we're going to have to leave it there for now. But as ever, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whether you realise it or not, Africa, for the past 12 months has been part of the club of some 100 global FTAs or free trade areas. I'm sure we're going to be talking to you on this subject more over the coming months. Thank you very much for now. Professor Carlos Lopez there speaking to us from Cape Town. Okay, still to come, Mimi has got the first of the year's sports bulletins as those players start leaving for Cameroon. It is, of course, the Africa Cup of Nations. Kick-off is this weekend. Now, firefighters in South Africa say a blaze that devastated the Houses of Parliament in Cape Town on Sunday has restarted after previously reporting that the flames had been brought under control. The fire totally destroyed the National Assembly chamber and badly damaged other areas of the complex. Okay, we're going to find out how the sports news is looking. Happy New Year, Mimi.
Happy New Year, Lukwesa. Pleasure to be in the studio with you. It's 6 days to go until the Africa Cup of Nations kicks off on Sunday in Cameroon. Teams have already started to arrive in the country with the Atlas Lions of Morocco. Quest, that's all the sport for now.
Mimi, thank you very much indeed. Now, it's been said that the kora can make you cry for all the right reasons. This is a West African instrument. It's a bit of a harp lute, but it's gained quite a following. In fact, Kajali Kuyute travelled to the UK for his studies. From student, he very quickly became teacher. This is his story. That was Kajali Kuyate there with his story. I just want to take you very quickly back to Cape Town, South Africa, and that is the Houses of Parliament building. A fire that we had been told had been put out, but very clearly on fire yet again. And earlier we saw smoke, but now those flames are coming out of the top of the building. More on this on BBC World News from us here. Goodbye.